I suspect we'll see in a minute, but we can call this meeting to order. It is 7:38 p.m. Monday, September 8th, for the regularly scheduled Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. Consider this your call to order. Can we do a roll call of everyone currently present?
Joe Claudia.
Sheldon Cohn.
Chris Gombieski.
Reese Tucker.
Ben Falick, Chair. Now we have the agenda in front of us. Can I get an approval for the agenda as presented?
Move to approve the agenda as
Second.
All right, all in favor of proceeding with the agenda?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Okay, now item number 3 is the meeting minutes from July 14th. Can I get a motion, or does anyone have any clarifications or corrections to the July meeting minutes?
make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all in favor of approving the July 14th agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
You mean minutes?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes.
I abstain. I wasn't
Thank you.
here.
Yes, the minutes, I think approve. I think they pass at least,
Yeah,
but
that's
4 out of
why-
5 here.
that's why I'm here.
There we go. Thank you. No, keep me honest. Okay, so that brings us to this evening's variance requests from the residents and owners of 8019 Concord. Still anticipating we'll have we do have a quorum. You need 4 votes no matter how many of us there are. So at a certain point, depending on how things are going, you may decide you want to punt to next month to have a better denominational, or whatever. But for now, why don't we start with Hank, and you can
Okay, Mr. Chair, before we let him go ahead and start off, I just want to point out here that what you're looking for is actually 3 separate variances. You're looking for a height variance on the fence, you're looking for a location variance on the fence, and then additionally, you're looking for an accessory structure in a platted front yard. So those are the 3 variances that you're looking at tonight. That's kind of the simplistic idea for what all that says. So again, we'll let him go ahead and explain it. I'm going to put the slideshow on. So Ben, Chris, you want to slide to the side a little bit? Just give this a minute. Look at that. Oh, it's nice with the technology.
Very good. Can you guys hear me? Do you want me to use the mic? Does that
The mic
come up
goes
on
to the
for the-
recording.
Okay.
It's for the recording.
How's that coming through? Thank you guys for your time. Appreciate you coming out here for me. My wife and Eric and I are excited to be part of Huntington Woods. I have 2 dental school classmates have moved here, and they said you have to come, you have to move. Our move date is actually this Friday. We closed last month. We've been doing a lot of work on the house. One of the things that we are excited to do, and is kind of on the next thing that we want to accomplish, is putting in a fence, or actually, I guess, completing a fence that's already there.
You want to go through it, or you want me to go through it and you can embellish? What's your pleasure?
I'll go through it.
Okay.
I'll go through it. I also want to thank you, Hank, for helping me out. He came out and he's been helping kind of guide this. As he mentioned, there's only a couple items that I guess need approval, but I just wanted to kind of give an idea of the general projects. You guys have an idea of what we're kind of going for. As I mentioned, it's my wife, Erica, and I. We have 2 kids, my daughter, Nina, who's 4, my son, Leonard, who's 2, and we have a dog. We love them all, but we love them most when they are contained. And that's the main reason for the fence, is to safety for the kids, keeping the dog in one spot. The walks are pleasant right now, but in a few short months, it's going to be really cold. Even though we have not moved in yet, we have already talked to our neighbors. They both have granted approval. I know that doesn't necessarily mean anything for you guys, but just want to let you know we're trying to do things right by the people that are around us. And for the bulk of what we're asking for, we're just replacing what's already there. We can kind of go on through. Well, stop on the kids, because, hey, they're cute, right?
Play.
I already kind of mentioned this. I mean, it's kind of obvious why we want a fence there, and you can kind of click through there, please. All right, so this is a picture of the existing fence that's there. So where we're at right now is the south side of the property, and at the end of the presentation, there's an overhead plot survey schematic that might make this a little bit more clear. The fence right now is dilapidated in a few areas. Like, you push on it, it's leaning pretty far over. It doesn't feel safe for the long term. And again, we intend on being here for quite a while, so we're trying to invest heavily now to make it what we want. And again, here's a little bit more panned out view. The house that's the brick just beyond the fence there, that's Galena Cats, that's the south of us. And so as we're looking here, can we go back to the other picture maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe the next one.
Could you,
You want one?
in your explanation,
Yeah.
is it orient us as far as Concord, New York?
Yeah, so Concord will be to your left, which is the north, and then York would be out that gate. So that would be considered our quote-unquote front yard for the orientation there.
Where
Do you want to skip to the last slide so they can see the overhead?
Yeah, I can do that for you.
So the street's on there. Sorry, guys. To the right of the screen, yep, that is York. Okay, to the north is Concord, going across the whole screen. Yeah.
Okay.
The yellow that you see there is where the existing fence already exists.
What are the green and red?
Those are other areas of the fence that he's proposing to put in, but he does not need ZBA approval for that part of it. So in essence, I'm sorry, did you want to?
No, please, by
Okay.
all means, by all means.
So, in essence, what we're looking at here is the total project, when in fact what we need to consider is pretty much the yellow project and the blue project. The other part of that is he's entitled to, by right, a 6-foot privacy fence in the yard. He's proposing a 4-foot fence, which is aluminum balusters, that'll be on that side, so it'll be visible, and it'll also be available for him to drop out of the driveway without wiping out any kids or people in wheelchairs or anything like that, because you'll be able to see, because the spindles will be open on that and won't be occluded in any way, shape, or form. The privacy issue comes from the back. If it's all right with you guys, I'm just gonna go ahead and then
Here?
if he's,
Yeah.
yeah, if he's got any questions,
Yep.
I'll do that. So the privacy issue that he's looking at.
a white for you.
Sure.
Okay, you could Vanna White for me.
Yeah, go for it.
So, okay, so let me go back to here, and then I'll do this. Let me just find, no, I want to get the thing so he can really, you
You
can
don't have a
really
laser pointer, do
see.
you?
Well,
No.
we're doing the other.
We have everything at the city hall, but we don't have anything here. All right, so, okay. So the area that he's concerned about here, and this is the front, this area here, and you can't see my cursor, but the front where the gate is, okay? That's the York side. That already goes there. Now, here's a couple interesting things about this. You can see the doors that come out the side, so you're already entitled to a fence in a side yard. It just can't be a privacy fence that could go 3 feet in front of the door, which puts him right where that fence is. So he's fine with a fence there. The problem is that he can't have a privacy fence there unless you say he can have a privacy fence there. This fence that there is legal non-conforming, and I say that because it's already there. So what we don't have is we don't have the opportunity to see, well, yeah, we do actually, and I'm gonna do
I had
this.
one from the other direction.
So what we do is we have this here, and you can see the fence is dilapidated. So realistically, if we were to send the code guy out there, the code guy would look then and say, that's a dilapidated fence, it could fall over, that's dangerous, this guy's got kids, the fence has gotta go. So that could happen anyway. What he's looking for is, he's acknowledging that he's only got, 7 feet?
Yes.
7 feet from the
Measure.
wall to where the fence is. So he doesn't have a whole lot of room, and that's technically, well, it's a technical side yard, and we all know what we've been through with the technical and the practical with the side yards, right? So this is the technical side yard of the house, but in reality, that's his backyard. So the accommodation here would be twofold. The accommodation would be one for a 7-foot fence, which I want to talk about again in a minute, and the second would be to have a privacy fence in the side yard, which both neighbors have had, and it's existed very cohesively without a problem before he even got here. Saying he's not even here yet, he won't be here till Friday, right?
Right.
So that's one of the issues. As to the 7-foot fence, you're measuring it from his side. His side at 7 feet is lower, his grade is lower at his side than the Katz's is on the other side. So when you see this right here, I just want you to keep in mind, oops, where did I go? Here. Okay, so here, where you can see this, the 7-foot fence, you see that fence encroachment? That fence encroachment's on her property. So that fence at 7 feet, which he's measuring from his side, is 6 feet. I mean, this is all give or take an inch or two here, from her side. So if she applied for that fence as it sits right now as a 6-foot privacy fence, and you were to grant that, she could have it. But she's got to do it, but you still have to have privacy fence in the side yard, understanding that his request is based on the practical difficulty that his house fronts on the side street, which is Concord, and he doesn't really have a backyard, and that's it. You can see where the other area that he has in with part of the green, and you can see the house goes over there, part of the green, and then to the red, that's all of the actual technical backyard that he has. So when they come out that back door, the back doors that they come out of on that alleyway that's created there, that's where they're at. That's where they would have their meals, that's where they would come out the door, that's where they would let the kids out, that's where they would let the dog out. So that area would need to be fenced in anyway, and the privacy fence affords them a little bit of privacy, which is really what he's looking for, because the fence could be had at 4 feet, but then they're looking from their windows. Unfortunately, the way that these houses match up is the windows are 10 feet away, 10, 12 feet away from each other. So they're virtually looking at each other all the time. So his concern is, and again, don't let me speak for you, but if I am, and you agree with it, that's fine. If not, tell us. But he can't read his newspaper out in the backyard without somebody reading over his shoulder. So that was it, by the way that they were constructed. So that's the height issue. So that's one issue, is the height, okay? The issue of the privacy fence in the side yard is specifically for the privacy. So there's two issues. If you have a fence in a side yard, that's one, because you have a privacy fence, a 6-foot fence in a side yard, you can't have unless you say you can have it. And then it's the privacy fence, which is the second issue. So then let's talk about the third issue, which is the patio in the front yard. And ideally, what would be best is if you could, Ben, maybe perhaps entertain these motions in like 3 parts, so that, you know, there's an opportunity to discuss each. Where the blue is he's looking for a patio in the front yard, and he's looking for it because he doesn't have a whole lot of space. The inverse of this argument is that, well, that could be over on the other side, and you could have the patio there, so you wouldn't be denying him a patio. And if you denied him a patio in the front yard, you wouldn't be denying him anything that everybody else has. So, because patios are not allowed in the front yard. He's looking for it there because there's a gate that goes right out there, and he can have easy access from and to the backyard with that. Could the patio go somewhere else? Yes, of course it could. That's going to be up to you, and that's going to be if he wants to add on to that for proofs. That's one thing, you know, I mean, he's certainly able to talk about that. But the fence issue, I think that pretty well hits it. Are you satisfied with the way we
Yeah, everything
explained
you
the
said about the
fencing?
fence is spot on. I think I just want to
Okay.
make it clear, the reason for the jog out is there's one pretty mature tree that's right there, and there's a couple over here. And so that's why that was created
And-
in
and-
the first place.
And again, to his point is the tree that necessitated that going around on the fence, that was agreed upon at one point in time by the owner previous to him, or maybe even two owners previous to him, and the people that were already there, because if you take a look at that tree, it's not a small tree.
Yeah.
So it's
And
been
that's-
like that for a long time.
That's what's contributing to the grade difference as well.
Yeah.
Because that's growing up, it's lifting the fence.
It's
All
pushing
of it.
everything up, so, and then not wanting to necessarily take down a tree of that magnitude, when there's not really a ton of reason to, that would be that. So I guess from this standpoint here is that, I certainly can answer any questions that you have, as can he. So if you want to, Ben, I can leave this up.
I would like to go over the patio part if I.
Yeah,
if
go
I
right
may,
ahead,
too.
you absolutely
Can you go back to I have
Sure.
some photos of what that looks like from the other side.
Yeah,
Yeah, right there. So this is all of you that you would see from York.
That's the front.
This is the front. Yes.
The
The D.
technical.
Technical front of the house.
Yes.
It
got
feels differently to us,
Right,
but
yeah.
for the
Right.
zoning board language, this is the front of the house. So in terms of like, is this ruining the vibe of the neighborhood or the feel of the neighborhood? I would argue it's relatively small footprint, and the goal for us, there's already a bunch of overgrown landscaping here. We basically just want to put a little rectangle right here that we can put like a bench or a rocking swing or something, so the kids can use the entire front yard to run around and we can keep an eye on them. Whereas if we didn't have that, we're kind of traipsing through the bushes, and it makes our quote, front yard rather unusable, just as a way to access that and keep an eye on everything. Kind of have it on the corner, because we don't really have a porch either. So it's a way to be like, hey, we're sitting out in our front yard, opportunity to talk to people as they walk by, that type of thing.
Technical front.
Technical front yard.
That's very helpful. So the location of this fence isn't changing, and there will still be a gate there, and that's what Hank was referencing, that it'll be
Yeah.
easy to access
Yeah.
to go in and out.
We're not trying to like do anything extravagant. We're not trying to do anything wild. Just already talking to a landscaping company as well. The idea is that this is sort of tucked in, so the curl of this landscape will come out and there'll be a buffer, so you wouldn't even see that from the front yard. Again, you'd have to be kind of at an angle to see it as well.
let me see if this helps you guys.
It would help me to see like a bird's eye of like actual Google Maps or whatever software you have. I think I can more or less picture it, but it could be useful.
We've been already doing some updates on the house as well. We had new windows put in the upstairs, ordering windows for the downstairs. So our intention here is improvement, long-term improvement to the property in the area, not to try and, I don't know, do anything crazy.
Would this be an extension of like what's going on in the fenced-in area?
Probably not. I don't know
What's gonna happen?
logistically how that would kind of work. It's more just like, okay, we're gonna have a few pavers, so that way it's a place that you can sit and not be like literally in bushes.
Okay. Hank, you're
I know.
we're gonna go back to the map or whatever you got handy.
Yeah, I'm looking for the map for an
Okay.
aerial for you right now.
That's fine.
Is satellite view on Google Photos?
That would work as
That's,
a.
I'm
as
looking for Google Maps for an
a
aerial.
Google Earth.
If you go to layers.
Yeah, that's what I gotta get, that's right.
And then, yeah.
Get that Wi-Fi.
Okay, so this is what you're looking at here, so that you guys can see it. Hold on just a second, let me get,
That this house is York.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused as to why everyone's saying the front yard is, not the front yard.
But technically, that's the front yard, the way,
Oh, is this where the
that.
wrought iron?
so his house actually faces
Yeah.
Concord.
just to show kind of the idea
And that's considered the
Back
actual
side.
front yard. I mean,
Oh, this is
Tom,
the
you
front
got
yard
any
to the
clues
side.
here?
Yeah,
Because this
oh,
isn't
but
showing up.
It's plotted as that this is the.
Just pull up
it
and
says-
this is-
this
are you online right now?
This is
Yeah.
effectively the
I've
front
I've
yard.
got it on
That's
here, it's just
correct.
not transferring.
Oh, it's not going to
You're
the,
saying this is
Right.
the-
like-
It's one of those
Yeah.
setups we have here.
And what's the deal with the 7 foot? Why 7 feet?
oh, yeah, I always have trouble with the
Apparently,
projector.
when,
getting-
It's
from,
not-
from this side, if it was 6, it was 7 foot, basically, from looking from that.
Okay,
6 foot looking
Yeah,
from
we
this
can
side.
crowd-
7
crowd
foot looking
around.
from that side.
yeah,
Add some garlic.
I don't quite understand why they would have to be.
Yeah.
So Hank, I apologize for being late. Are you, I had something unavoidable. Can I ask a couple questions just to make sure I'm up to
you
speed?
could ask anything that you would like to. I just want to make sure, I
Okay.
would love to get this up here for him, and it's just not
What?
Yeah.
working.
Is that okay? To ask a couple questions?
Yeah, we can, go ahead, Andy.
Yeah.
I think if we pulled the little guy over, that would help out a lot, because then we can actually like look at it.
I mean,
Right, but it's
I
not
did on my
showing
little
up here, that's
cheat
my
sheet here.
Can he help with that?
No, I don't think so. Tom, you don't know, do you know anything about this stuff?
Here you go.
Is it like?
Okay, there you go.
Hey,
There
okay.
you go.
There you go.
Okay. So,
Oh, hang on. I got you guys, hang on.
so you gotta be a doctor to do this.
So here's York,
Okay,
here's Concord.
okay.
This way is north. This is the front of the house for the argument of this panel.
Okay, gotcha.
There is the fence.
Yeah.
What
So
does the house look like over here? You said there's.
The
is there
actual
a
front, like the
door?
practical front is
No,
unconcrete.
sorry.
There you
Oh,
go.
there's your front door.
Yeah.
well, that's our side door.
I know. And then on the front, is there a door?
Would you like me to go further down this way?
No, I want you to go
No,
back to where
there's,
you were.
like, if you
No.
go
There's the
face,
Actual front door?
No.
Is there just a
It's
window?
platted to York, there's nothing,
It's just a
there's
window.
nothing, it's just a window,
Oh,
So-
a gate.
I think that helps your case.
it's,
The idea here, and the measurement, just to help specify this too, you know, I think I put it in there as like 12 by 14.
You did.
From, the bushes are 12 foot wide.
Okay.
It goes to about there. So again, the idea is that this is gonna be tucked in, we're gonna redo the landscaping. It's obviously fall in this picture, but there's a big bush right here as well. So this is sort of squirreled away so that this bench would be
Over there.
oh, that.
beep. So we can watch the kids, they can have the run of the whole corner.
Where?
Pardon me?
That's what he's showing you
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
what you want the, what you want the patio to be, just.
In front of the
That's what he's
fence.
just showing you.
Yeah.
So, one more question. When you open this gate, is that how you kind of like enter the house, you said? There's like.
No.
No, the.
Oh, that's not there, that's somewhere
We
else.
would enter, like, getting into the house would be here, or honestly, the garage. Open the garage door and walk in that way.
Side front.
And you just describe how big the backyard is.
Yeah, you can,
Tiny.
It's very narrow, it's
It's
just
right
like a.
there.
that's it
It's
right
zero.
there.
Okay.
So this is the quote-unquote backyard, and so this was the kind of argument of, hey, we have all this like lawn space in the front, but not a really practical way to utilize it. I mean, I guess you could just go stand there, but that doesn't sound too much fun. And I think, are you our new neighbors? I heard you guys talking?
I'm 2 down.
2 down,
That's my
okay.
backyard.
So the fence
that's your
would just go, doop, right through there.
What was that?
The fence would just,
Yes.
yep,
I get you.
okay.
Right, this-
I can show you where'd the PowerPoint go?
Yeah. Give me just 2 seconds here.
We
Let's
can
do
pull the
that.
PowerPoint back up to show how narrow the side back is.
So,
Yeah, I think it's just that one right there.
Which one do you got?
That's, maybe one back. That's the width of the current, side yard. Effectively our backyard.
Where's that door, is I guess what I'm trying to figure out.
That door's
Where's
on
that
the
door?
technical, like, on the practical back of his house.
That door.
Back of
Yeah,
the
it's
garage.
opposite,
Behind the creepy fence.
We're trying to make it less creepy.
Yeah, after Halloween.
Where did I morph to? Sorry, I'm gonna get it. There you go. That gate is right here. This is the post of that gate.
Right, so that's what I was asking. So from this frontage.
Right.
The only way to get into your house is through that gate and then through a door,
No,
right?
that's not correct.
So
Well, okay, so, I mean, one of the things, with the practical and the technical, I guess a question I'll always ask is, and you sort of alluded to it in your memo, is if the house fronts Concord,
Yes.
but historically it is, and
It's
officially it is
platted
platted
off of York.
face off of
York.
and facing
Correct.
York. So if it were platted off of Concord, would he need these variances? Or would he
Yes.
need different
Well,
variances?
wouldn't that be in my backyard then?
If it were platted off of Concord, it's not though.
Yeah, no, I know.
But if it was platted off of Concord and that was acceptable by the zoning ordinance, which I can't tell you that it is because it's not, that would be in a rear yard.
The patio.
The patio would be in a rear yard if it was legal that way.
Right, okay.
Can I ask a couple questions, just to make sure I understand?
Yeah, you,
Go ahead.
And again, I apologize for being late. I just want to first nail the 7-foot issue.
Okay.
Could you just explain to
Yep,
me
I'll give
why
you-
it's got to be 7 feet?
well, okay, so here's the thing. Let's go back to the,
The tree.
I assume it's an elevation issue of some sort,
well,
but,
the elevation issue is that it's 7 feet on his side, but it's 6 feet on her side because the property does this. And the way that this is, let me get you to, hold on a second here, Andy, we'll get you. Okay, so you see here where the yellow is?
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Or it's been anyway? So the yellow is the area that he's talking about, and that's his area of concern. It's that way to get around a tree.
I heard that.
Okay, so the issue is that fence is technically on his neighbor's property. So as it goes on his neighbor's property, it becomes a 6-foot-high fence on her side, but it's 7 from his because the property goes on an angle and that's exaggerated. So that's why. So if his neighbor applied for this, they wouldn't need a variance, they only need the variance because you can't have a privacy fence in the side yard. So they would need one variance, not 2 for height.
Right.
So that's why I was asking to be considered in 2 separate things here for this. One is for the height, and one is for the 7 foot on his side of it.
How tall will the fence actually be as opposed to how high in the air will it go?
Well, the
Is it-
panels come 8 foot wide by 6 feet tall.
So they're still 6 feet tall.
They're 6 feet, that's what you buy them, 6 feet
Okay.
tall, which he's looking for a privacy fence, and I think what we were talking about a little bit before you got here was that he has really no privacy. I mean, the windows in
Yeah.
that house all overlook that little area. The house coexisted with the neighbors with a privacy fence for many, many years before he got there and before, might even guess the neighbor got there, or long, long ago, because you can see how big that tree is, and the tree didn't get that way overnight, and that fence was put in to go around that tree.
I guess the question that I just want to get at
Sure.
is, I care deeply about the 6-foot side fence rule and the 4-foot, and the
Okay.
privacy back fence rule and the
Yeah.
4-foot side fence rule. I think it's really important to the character of the neighborhood. And I would like to hear you, in a light favorable to the appellant, explain why this does not run afoul of the spirit of the 4-foot, 6-foot rule in this particular context.
So,
Which is to make sure
Right.
that we're not closed off from each other, that we're not hiding behind barriers, and there's some privacy, but not so much that we live in a walled compound.
Okay, so again, and this is what, and again, I'm not, I can't sit here and make his case
Right.
for him, but what I can tell you is that we know several things that are factual.
Okay.
Her grade is higher than his.
Okay.
We know that. So the windows that she looks out of are higher than the windows that he looks
Okay.
out of. So as a result, more of that side yard, backyard is visible to her because of the windows that are in the house.
Okay,
So the way that it is, she's looking down, or she, he, whoever is looking down into that yard. You can see on the windows on that side, on that shot.
Yeah.
Hers is the house to the left. So she's looking down on everything that's there.
Okay.
So that makes that fence at 4 foot, you might as well not have the
are
fence.
you satisfied that we're not establishing a troubling precedent for the next person who wants a 7-foot wall or 8-foot?
I'm
fence?
establishing that you could have a case for this one that may not exist for others.
Okay, that's what I care
And,
about.
and as far as a precedent goes, I think that, that if the same situation with the grade issues and the other stuff would come up, you may want to react the same way to
Okay.
it. You may want to do
Okay,
that.
I just cared about the precedent on this and
Understood.
satisfied that
But
we're not
his-
establishing one.
His case is different
Generally.
because you've got the little grade issue
Yep.
here, and that you've got a limited area here. The neighbor has already signed off and is willing to let the fence be
Okay.
put back to where it is.
And ma'am, can I just ask, are you okay with everything being a neighbor?
She's 2 doors down from,
Okay,
yeah, so we'll have a chance for the public to
Okay.
speak on this, but, that was the one question that you had.
the
So-
second question I
Yeah.
had, and then I'm done, is, again, I'm concerned about precedent, always am. That is a teeny backyard, correct?
Yes, it is.
And have we ever had a patio request with such a teeny, in the front, quote unquote, with such a teeny backyard? Is this anomalous?
I can tell you that previously, any questions that have been asked for patios in the front yard
Uh-huh.
have not been met favorably. But again, he certainly can make his case. I mean, that's what he's here for. But I can tell you that the way that it was done was that so that we didn't have patios going down the whole
Right.
street and looking at that. That's the hard part. So would you be creating a precedent? The question for that is that you're asking, he's asking to have a patio in a technical front yard, which may be a technical front yard to him, but it's a practical front yard to everybody else. You know?
When you say it's a practical front yard to
It's
everyone else?
everybody else is on the
Everybody
block
else
is on the
front
block.
yard. So what you would have to decide is if, because of the configuration of the house, he warrants some relief with the patio there, instead of putting it on the other side of the garage, which is a continuation of the backyard into what would which would be his side yard, but actually his technical rear yard.
And what about the rules on patios and side yards?
You
What's the-
can't technically have a patio in a side yard. This house is obviously
Okay. So this is a
grandfathered, if
clear-
you will,
Right.
because that patio's been there probably, I don't know, 40, 50 years, could be, I don't know.
If I may add some points as well, with the fence, we're not trying to make it higher.
No, I'm okay with the fence. I'm concerned about the patio.
Okay, and then this is effectively what we call our front yard. So when
Yeah.
we look over here, we say, okay, there's not a whole lot of space there,
Yeah.
but man, we got a really nice big yard over here. It sure would be nice to be able to
Yeah.
use it. And so that's why I tucked in this little itty bitty corner. We'll make it look nice, I promise.
I mean, just to let you know where I am, and then I'll let the others speak for themselves. I'm concerned about precedents, and I understand that there are two mitigating factors here: the tininess of your backyard, and the fact that effectively your front yard is a side yard. But still, as Hank was saying, everyone driving down that street is going to be seeing your patio, and that just really is uncomfortable for me because it's not something that we do. And I personally believe that, you buy the house, you know the features and attributes of the house, and there are extenuating circumstances, and I clearly see an extenuating circumstance for the fence at this point. But the patio that everyone's going to see when they walk in front, unlike any other house in the area, I'm having trouble with that one, just so you know.
Okay.
I have a question. Have you had comments from the neighbors about putting a patio out in the front?
I talked to Galena, who is our immediate neighbor right next to it there.
Uh-huh.
She said okay to everything. And then same thing on the other side, Joe Ricker.
But this is something that affects everyone driving by or walking by.
No, again, we move in Friday. I have not had an opportunity to talk to people down the block.
Not saying that you should
I only
have.
know that direct neighbors across from our, what we consider our front yard. On the other two corners, they came over and said hi as well.
Okay, well, this may be a good time to open it up to public comment. Did you want to, or I will open up to everyone, not just the person who's actually here. Hearing none, well.
Sure, do you want me to go up
Yeah,
there?
please.
That's-
Oh,
yeah.
it's not mandatory. You're here, yeah.
I'll come up.
It's your name and your
We
address.
need your name and address for the record,
My name is
please.
Megan Martin Campbell. I am at 26117 York, which is Galena's other neighbor. So I'm the white brick house. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I came because I saw the 8-foot fence and I was concerned. That seems like I'm an architect. I care about having transparency between, somewhat limited transparency between neighbors and stuff like that. So the 8-foot fence kind of scared me. But knowing now that it is basically, I noticed that fence seems to be about 7 feet from the road. Not from the road, 7 feet high from me walking by.
Yeah.
And if it's being replaced like for like, I'm totally cool with that. As far as the front patio is, okay, fence thing first. I'm cool with the 7 feet, as long as it's something that's like for like. If Galena's cool with it being on whatever, that's between you and her, that's great. The rest of the fence seems great. The front yard patio is interesting. There's been a bench in that little planter in front at where the tree is in that side yard for as far as I've lived here, which is about 4 years.
I
It's
can tell.
pretty-
It's like
nobody's ever sat
wobbly.
in it.
Yeah, I said, the kids and I have.
I wouldn't sit in it. But there are a lot of folks, we just actually had our block party yesterday. There's a lot of people on the street that do use their front yards like a backyard. There are folks that have, we have our kids play out there, and there's a lot of, talking with our neighbors. I think it actually promotes a good neighborhood. I feel like we're getting to know each other on our street a little bit better. If they want to put a patio out front, I'm totally on board with that. There's a house across from me, Alan, and I can't remember his wife's name right now, but they have a patio in their front. It was done by Donna a couple of years ago. It was an extension of her front porch. And then there's a couple, I have a porch, but, and I know Galena also, her and her husband occasionally sit out in lawn chairs on their front yard to communicate with their neighbors. So if you want to have a patio out there, I'm totally cool with that. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing no further public comment, we'll close public participation and open up to the board.
A couple things. At what point, Hank, definitionally, do red flags go up in terms of what's a patio? I mean, if we were just to put a bench in that corner,
We wouldn't
that
do
be-
it. We wouldn't even be here if that was all that was going on.
okay, I'm just
So the
curious.
actual thing with the patio is patio is defined as an accessory structure in our zoning ordinance. So by that would indicate to me that in order to be a structure, it's got to be concrete, pavers, something of that nature affected on that. It's not going to be wood because that would be a deck. That's a different matter. You still can't have it, but it's named differently. So that would be the patio. So the patio is expressly prohibited in that, and that's the issue with that.
Okay, I'm trying to get
Yeah.
find out where there's
Yep.
some room to not worry about something.
Absolutely.
Okay. Second, in terms of the fence, I want to make it clear that the height and privacy features are not waivable by the next door neighbor. Is that accurate?
They're waivable, they were waivable in the backyard, now they don't even need to do that because the planning commission has put in an ordinance that says you can do that by right. You can have 2 fences on a lot line by right, but you have to ask the neighbor if you want them to remove the other part, the other fence, at their cost. You can do that. The side yard still has no privacy fences in the side yard. So what you would have to decide is that, are there circumstances here that mitigate the need to apply the strict rule of that, and whether or not the fact that his lot is, that his house is situated on the lot and leaves him a very narrow strip of land there with which to effectively maintain some form of backyard for the house. I mean, he walks out the back door and the barbecue takes up half of his rear yard. So, you know, based on the way that that's platted, you may choose to find that, yeah, okay, he's got some mitigating
Okay,
circumstances.
but I mean, he can't get the
neighbor can't waive that.
neighbor can't waive either the
The
height or
neighbor
the
can't
privacy
waive that,
feature.
but it is nice to know that the neighbor does have approval.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get in the way
Right.
of that. Okay. My next question is, in terms of privacy, and you're welcome to address this. As I recall the picture there, I mean, there's still second floor windows.
That is correct.
And whether it's a 6 foot or 8 foot, unless it's a 12 foot, you're not going to end up with the privacy as far as people looking down or being able to look down at what you're doing. So, you know, I'm trying to figure out if this is really a necessity and if it's effective, and whether or not privacy is part of the standard that goes into the features that everybody's entitled to in terms of the use of their property. And I don't know that, I certainly know it's not explicitly there. And whether or not that can be identified as that kind of a feature, while everybody else can, you know, has that ability, I'm just not sure that it falls within that. That's my own evaluation.
No, and I understand that. I just want to say, and you know, without it wanting to sound like I'm taking up his side on this, the second floor windows on any house, you're going to be able to see anything. I can see from my second floor windows, and I have a 6-foot privacy fence at the back of the thing, and I can see a lot of my neighbor's yard. Having said that, the first floor, which is where we would spend most of our time, because in the second floor, typically those are bedrooms and people have their shades drawn, they go to bed when they go up for the night, or even if they leave them open. So the amount of vision that you have from the second floor, you're gonna have no matter what. The amount that you have from the first floor is different in this situation, arguably because the window set is higher and the houses are closer together, so as a result, you're looking down into his property. So a 4-foot fence realistically might not, well, be there at all because you're gonna see right over the top of that. So, you know, unless you're trying to keep the dog in, you know, why do that? So the 6-foot fence, which actually is 7 on his side, affords him some semblance of privacy because it blocks part of the view from those windows. So for example, if they're sitting there in their dining room, which from the layout of the house may be right there, that they're not sitting there eating dinner overlooking him, you know, reading the paper or something like that. So whether or not you feel that he has a practical difficulty or hardship based on that, the reality of the situation is that that is his backyard. I mean, for practical purposes.
I get that, okay. And it, you know, the applicant is concerned about safety, and I understand that too.
100%.
It seems to me a front yard patio without a front, or whatever you want to call the front yard patio, without a fence around it, is not a feature that suggests any safety features in terms of kids or pets or anything like that, okay? And so that doesn't move me in this particular direction. Next question would be, without assuring anybody what the result would be if the neighbor came in and wanted to put in a 6-foot fence, okay, along what is functionally his backyard, would that need to come here?
Yes, because you can't have a privacy, if the neighbor did, it would still be in the side yard. So the neighbor's house and his house, it happens to be his backyard and it happens to be the neighbor's side yard, but because it's a side yard technically for both houses, you can't have a privacy fence in the side yard unless you say it's okay.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
So we would have the same
That
issue.
You would have the same issue, that's why there's two parts of this. One is the height and one is the privacy. The height actually is mitigated if the neighbor comes in and does it because their property's higher.
Because the 6 foot,
Right, it's the same fence, it's gonna have the same effect on him. The only effect that it's gonna have in his favor is if he's allowed to do it and put it in the same spot. You can't give him a variance to put a fence on the neighbor's property.
understand.
So ultimately, she's gonna have to apply for the permit to do that. We've talked about that, he understands that, but he can still, that can be accomplished, but they can't put a privacy fence in there unless you say it's okay.
Just so it's clear,
Yeah,
the fence height is going to be the same as it is now. It's just going to be a nicer fence.
yes,
And there are mitigating circumstances for the fence because of, one, the land, the elevation of the actual land, the knoll or whatever we're calling it. And then two, there's also this small backyard or non-backyard. So there, and it doesn't, I'm sorry, it doesn't front the road in a conventional way. That there's a technical front yard, but not an effective front yard.
yes, and I think that.
Or was I not clear?
No, the easy way around this, and to deal with this, is if you're inclined to approve a privacy fence at 6 feet in the front, in the side yard, then that takes that issue. Between him and his neighbor, where that fence goes is up to them, but she, if it's on her property, would have to apply for the fence, which I'm sure he would gladly pay for that permit. It's like
So, but-
$50, $75. So that problem is solvable once you get past the issue that you say they can have it to begin with.
If I may comment to Sheldon's safety concern, and for us, for parenting, I think there can be moments of active parenting and passive parenting. So if we have a latch up high up on a fence that my 4-year-old can't reach, we know they can be back there and we might not have direct visual on them all the time, but if the window's down, we can see them, we can hear them and know, okay, they're not gonna get out. They're gonna be doing something in the backyard, getting dirty, hopefully having fun, but they're not gonna go somewhere. The idea of the patio is that would be more of an active parenting where one of us or both of us are sitting out there as well, watching them, because we don't want them to go into the street either, So I think that's the difference in the feel between the two.
I think what we're talking about is whether or not you put down stones or tiles or a hard surface under the bench.
Sure.
At least that's what I took away from what Hank indicated.
Yeah, I mean, if they just put stones under there and they wanted to just keep it with stones like that, I'd consider that a landscape
Yeah.
feature.
Right, so we were here last month?
2 months ago.
2 months ago, thank you. And if you're interested in, you can have a gas fire pit in your front yard, because we've interpreted that that's a landscape feature. I think that, Sheldon, you're onto something here, that it may, if you don't get that third variance for a capital P patio, because you could sort of envision a bigger, more elaborate patio
Sure, where does
pergola
it end?
that wouldn't belong in the front yard. But what you're really asking for is, somewhere you can sit and not be in a flower bed, right, or in the mud, and that you can have, right? That Adirondack chairs or the bench, those are not accessory structures based on our previous determinations and the code enforcement. So that
Right.
probably what you're envisioning, or what I'm envisioning based on what you're describing, is more of a landscape feature with something to sit on seasonally rather than a capital P
But is that
patio.
in fact the case?
Then
What are you
Yeah,
planning?
we were
to
just
do
gonna do
here?
simple
Right.
pavers.
If I could continue,
Oh, sorry,
Certainly.
sorry,
didn't mean to talk while you were interrupting.
sorry.
Okay, where I am on this, given the features that are available here, I think you can get around the patio thing and make it a usable space without a variance, okay? And I would caution the board carefully about making advanced decisions about stuff that's not in front of us, about what might be appropriate or inappropriate, okay? I would defer to Hank. I trust his judgment and his reasonableness in making those kinds of determination about what comes before us. And I wouldn't want to suggest that we're giving permission for anything that isn't formally contained in a decision relating to a variance. I will tell you that when it comes to the fences, I don't see any reason to grant either height or privacy features as a variance in these circumstances, because I think adequate arrangements can be made within the existing statute to provide for the safety of the kids, okay? And I don't think you effectively, assuming that privacy is a feature that you're entitled to, I don't see that the difference in terms of the way the lots are configured and neighbors are configured, I don't see anywhere where there's a material gain, whether it's a 4-foot fence, a 6-foot fence, or an 8-foot fence. So that's kind of where I'm sitting on your request. So, I guess that comes down to, and I'm open to conversation and being convinced to the contrary, but based on other views on the commission. But right now, I don't see the necessity for departing from the, and I don't see how you fit within the 4 criteria, and all must be met, at least as far as I understand. All of the 4 criteria must be met in order to grant the variance. I'm not worried about effect on the neighborhoods or the neighbors. I don't care. Okay, I mean, whatever permission you've got from at least the immediate neighbors who are affected, you've gotten. But in terms of being denied a use that other homeowners are entitled to in the area, or precedent setting, like Mr. Doctoroff suggested, I just as soon not be faced with those down the road, because I know a couple months ago, part of the presentation, I wasn't at that meeting, but part of the presentation, I saw the application. Well, look over here, they did that here, and look over here, they did that there, and you didn't, there's no enforcement there, and there's no complaints here, and there's nothing about that. And as far as I'm concerned, these things have to stand on their own, each on its own. And if some other, or this commission or some other commission made a decision that was acceptable for that particular point in time, I'm not suggesting randomness or capriciousness. I'm just saying that was a decision made for whatever the reasons were made when that decision was made, and I don't feel necessarily bound by that particular circumstance. That's a wordy way to say, I don't see the necessity for departure from what the zoning ordinance requires in this circumstance. That's my 2 cents. Thank you.
My only concern is that I know it's a side yard, but truthfully, it's his backyard, and that's allowed to have a privacy fence in the backyard. And I think we have to take a look at it from the practical standpoint of the house. I mean, the other thing I have a little concern about is the patio. You can have chairs out there in the front yard and whatnot. You don't have to have a patio, because there's no definition of what that is. You could pour a concrete slab, or you could have gravel. But right now, you don't need a variance to have some chairs out there to sit there with your family.
Okay.
So I'm just concerned about approving a patio out there without more definition exactly what that is.
My own question, well, kind of echo a little bit there with the patio, but the other question I have as far as the lot coverage with the patio, are we getting close to a total lot coverage from a rainwater?
Well, so here,
With the
here's the way that works. The 50% lot coverage for accessory structures are technically 50% lot coverage in the rear yard, of which he doesn't have anything because that's from the garage back. So he doesn't have anything over there. As far as lot coverage in the front, it's not allowed in the front yard, so whether you have it or not, it's not allowed there, so that's another issue. The pervious or impervious surface, the 30% lot coverage, the 30% covers anything covered by a roof. So none of this is covered by a roof, so the 30% would not come into play because he's less than 30% on the house and the garage as it sits right now. The 50%, again, he's not even touching because there's no structures in the technical rear yard of the house. So what he's asking for is to put, what did it come out to, like 135 square feet, something like that. It's not a lot of square footage for the patio in the front yard, but it is in the front yard. What I am saying is that if he chose to take that and make that bark, or if he chose to take that and make that gravel, or he chose to take that and make that stones, we would consider that landscape features, and he could go ahead and put benches down there, and he could have, the kids could play there in the bark or whatever.
Right.
And we wouldn't even think, you wouldn't be here for that question if that was proposed. So what defines and what makes that a patio? If it's concrete, if it's pavers, if it's a material that provides some actual patio structure, then that would be considered a patio. Are there ways that he could accomplish this without that? Of course there is. You could put chairs on your.
With like the pavers in it, like.
Pardon me?
Yeah. What if it's like gravel, but then there's like pavers kind of in parts of it, like I've seen that.
If there was going to
Not
be
like
pavers or
paver.
concrete, we would consider that a patio,
If
whether
there's
it's.
pavers at all,
If it's pavers at all, because pavers by the nature provide a hard surface upon which to gather. I mean, that's what the point of pavers are. A walkway or a place to gather.
I think you're talking about like a few that were like
Stepping
kind of
stones?
scattered, yeah,
Right,
stepping,
more like
lily
stepping
pad
stones.
style.
If he had stepping stones throughout the thing, like the 1 foot by 1 foot
Right.
squares that take him through the bark or through the pea stone that he was gonna take so he could walk to the gate at the back, we wouldn't consider that anything more than a walkway, which by code you're entitled to in the front yard, which is where he is. So there's a lot of alternatives that they can do that don't necessarily have to come here. And I think that was kind of Sheldon's point when he was saying is that, there's, rather than grant a variance for a patio, he didn't want to see that same thing next month and the month after that and the month after that from people wanting to put it and using this as an example.
I think after hearing the board's comments on this, I'm happy to remove that off the table if that's going to help. I mean,
We can accept a withdrawal of that.
You could
or we
accept a
can-
withdrawal, but I think his primary focus with all of this was really on the fence.
Yeah, no, that one's still on the table, and so maybe we'll just limit our comments to the fence.
Or come back to
So
that.
my question is, since it's a front yard, what's the difference between a patio and a porch?
A porch is a walkway that comes from the stairs and is necessitated by code by virtue of the fact that you have to have a landing in order to get from height A to height B.
But he does,
but he doesn't have that, he has a window.
he has a window. So that's
I
my.
mean,
Which,
or there is
which
the door in
doesn't
the-
entitle him to the porch.
Okay,
There you go, that's your answer.
Oh,
okay.
So, it's a practical front yard without a door, so you don't get a
So you don't-
porch. You have the door, you have the entryway in the fence
You can see
to the
Right,
extent
which
that we-
goes
Bigger
to an
project.
effective side or rear door, whichever way you want to call that.
okay,
Alright.
I have,
Go ahead.
yeah, I have some comments too.
No.
So if you're removing the patio, then we're only talking about the fence, or do you want to hear more about the patio before you make it?
Well, I think you can come back to the patio. I mean, at this point in time, otherwise this is gonna go on indefinitely. My suggestion to you is that you take the fence and decide, A, do you want to allow it in the side yard at all? That's one motion. Two, as far as the height, that can drop out if the neighbor's willing to take the fence, because it'll be 6 on their side, they're the ones that doing it. And the distance in the area for which it goes to is between him and his neighbor. So I mean, at that point in time, he doesn't need to be
I
here for
view the
that.
fence like we viewed like decks and stuff like that that are in somewhat of a state of disrepair, that like, that they wouldn't obviously be able to put because like the lot coverage or whatever was over. It's a similar case. I mean, as long as, like Andy was saying, it's like for like, that's really what I view as important.
Well, that's our understanding, and I think and you could corroborate this if you'd like, but that's what he's looking for, is he just wants this fence. I mean, I was there. You'd go there and you push the fence with 2 fingers, you could push it over.
Right, and we would,
He was looking
wouldn't
to do
want
the
the
right thing by
unintended
coming.
consequence of just keeping that because it's there
Right.
and
Yeah, that's-
having it be a hazard.
Right.
And I imagine your neighbor would prefer a privacy fence over an open fence, and that's one of the variances, right? Like, does she
Yeah.
really want
I mean,
to-
isn't it ultimately going to be her fence? I mean, that's sort of for them to work out, but it's on her property.
Well, it's going to be 7 feet on his side, 6 on hers. So when he was coming here to do that, he was coming here because he didn't misrepresent, I just want to be clear, he did not misrepresent anything coming here on this. He was straight above board on this. He said it was 7 feet, he knew it was high, but that's what it was right now. The idea that it's 7 feet here and 6 feet here, and the tree may have played a part in that, whatever, it still is what it is.
Her house right now is under complete renovation. Her pipes burst in the winter, and so the whole thing is like gutted. She's not living there. And so in our conversation, obviously that's the primary focus of getting that so she can actually live back in the house. And then she's like, oh, then I think I was gonna do something with the backyard. And so when she heard that, hey, we want to put a fence in, we have a dog and kids and we're moving in ASAP, she's like, you're gonna pay for it? You go
Right.
ahead.
You
Yeah,
write that
that
check.
is your fence, you go right ahead. So
Got it.
that,
Yeah.
I understand
Right.
there's the property line there, but that's
Yeah.
the vibe that
Right.
we have.
So I think, I mean, I don't, and I will speak only for myself, but I don't see an issue with the height variance. I also don't necessarily think that you need it. If she's the one who, with your check, pulls the permit for a fence that on her property is 6 feet, that's just code. That's just within the code. The privacy part is separate. You need the variance for
I
that.
think we're just trying to
Yeah.
create one less hoop to have to
Totally.
jump through to get it done.
And if she's not living here and you're trying to get this done.
Yeah.
And there's 2 variances on the same thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
One additional question. That hook of a fence that's in front of the quote patio, is that come along, or is that, because that's technically a fence in the front yard that doesn't,
Help me
I'm not sure how
out, help me out,
definitionally
Shel.
that
That,
works.
that fence returns to the front corner of the house. And
okay,
it's
so
there.
that's okay.
That's okay, but not as a privacy fence, once it comes down.
Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah,
strictly,
but it's okay because if you walk through that gate, there's a side door right there. And
Yeah.
you're allowed to have a fence 3 feet in front of a side door. What you're not allowed to have is a privacy fence 3 feet in front of the side door, which brings back the issue of
so
the
are we
privacy
within the
fence
3
in the
feet
side.
here?
Yeah, so it'd be within
Okay.
through
I
the
just
side yard.
I
Yeah,
don't want-
it's,
I
yeah,
don't-
according to the drawing.
I've said what I'm against, but I don't want to create a situation where he doesn't have an enclosed space.
Right, I mean, and again, the whole purpose of allowing for the fences to go 3 feet in front of the side doors was to let your kids and your dog out. That was
Okay.
in a contained area, that was the whole point of it. So when that fence issue was raised and written, that was the whole
Okay.
impetus.
I
for
just
that.
have one more comment. Because of where this fence is going to go, I would like to go back and say a 6-foot fence, so we get rid of the 7-foot, because I don't want to have this out there as we approved a 7-foot fence. In this case, why can't we keep doing it? Okay, so instead of a 6, I'll give it a variance for the back, side yard privacy fence be 6 foot. Would you accept that? Because where it's gonna go on to your neighbors?
We're talking about this, I mean, we're still talking about the same size, shape.
You're talking about the
fence.
same thing. It's
So
gonna be
it's sort of
6
a-
on her side, it'll be 7 on his.
Semantic.
So if you grant a.
It's also not precedent. I
If
mean,
you
it's
grant
fair,
a
it's important to say,
variance
every variance is unique and
If
particular.
you grant a variance for a
Uh-huh.
6-foot privacy fence in the side yard because of the circumstances that were illuminated in this particular appeal, then that's 6 foot. If she decides to get the permit and put that 6 foot on her side, it doesn't matter, it's still 6 feet.
Right.
It's just 7 feet from his side.
Yeah.
And he's not doing it, however it is, it's still the 6 foot, so you're granting a 6-foot privacy fence.
Right.
It's just 7 feet on his side. If he puts that fence back where that yellow line is, it's gonna be 7 feet again on his side.
Yeah. So 6-foot fence would be fine.
The only, I guess, part that would look wrong is when it makes that cut back to the side of our house. Like,
It's gonna have to be, you would have to, the return that goes from the fence that's between the lots, going back to the house, where the codicil would be added to the variance that if you do that, that the top should line up with the existing fence on that side, and then
Right.
whatever that height is.
That small part that fronts York, you mean, that comes
Yes,
that
it's-
part?
what is
Okay.
that, 10 feet?
yes.
If
Okay.
that, yeah, 10
Okay.
feet.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
First of all, Sheldon, I'm sorry for interrupting you again. I didn't mean to do that.
Okay.
But I don't believe in elevating form over substance. And I believe that that's what we would be doing if we were to essentially deny the variance request and assume that the neighbor can take care of it on her own as 6 feet. I believe right now that there is existing extenuating circumstances that allow for him to have his 7-foot fence as requested in the variance appeal. And that is the elevation, the topography that presumably, if not sui generis, is not experienced very often. And I also know very well personally that roots from a tree can very dramatically affect your ability to manipulate and install a fence in a way that's consistent with the 6-foot rule. There's nothing you can do about it. And so I think that coupled with where, coupled with the fact that it is right now the same height fence, gives me personally comfort that we're not establishing a bad precedent that we're going to have to be concerned about in the future. So I just I don't want to make you, to use someone else's term, jump through hoops, work out a deal with your neighbor, when I do believe that by denying the variance, but kind of winking at what you would otherwise do with your neighbor, I think that is elevating form over substance, and I don't think that's what we should be doing. So I'm personally prepared to vote for, to approve your variance request regarding the fence. And thank you very much for withdrawing the patio request, because that was the one that was giving me heartburn.
Do you want to make a motion and then we can take any further comments to that?
Sure.
Or,
I've
Sheldon, go
got-
ahead.
Just one, the part that's identified in red is the wrought iron fence.
That's correct.
Can we identify from if you still have the
green-
overhead?
The green part?
Yeah.
The-
If you still have
The wrought iron's in red behind you there.
That's the part that faces Concord.
Yeah, I know.
Hank,
You want to go to Google Maps?
Next to the, if you still got
what are
the
the two
Google Maps
fences called?
thing.
What?
The privacy fence and the what
And
fence?
that would,
I might
that would hook
still
up
have
to the
The privacy
garage.
fence and the what fence?
Closed out.
There's privacy, there are two things at issue.
Yeah, it's privacy, he's got a wrought iron
You're good.
Yeah, but-
fence going back.
But what are they called here in this motion? Thank you.
Oh, it's in here somewhere. He doesn't need a motion for that. He only needs a motion for the privacy fence.
Next to the garage.
Okay, so it'd come around and hook up to the garage?
Yeah.
Would it go past the garage and hook back, or what's?
No, I wanted to end right there, so I'm paying for less fence, quite honest. We're gonna put a gate right there. I was keeping it off the driveway, so, you know. getting
So you
down
want
the
it to project out from the garage toward the sidewalk
Yeah,
and
to
then
about
hook
here.
back?
To the edge of the property line, and then this would be the shadow box privacy back to here.
Okay, and that would be the wrought iron?
The wrought iron would go from here over to here.
And that's not, that's not in front of us, right?
No, you
Okay.
can get a permit for that today.
Okay, just wanted,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have that at my house, where it's like the metal that's
Yeah.
more open and then it cuts, it's.
but you're an
wood.
important person.
Yeah.
so
Well, yeah,
you get
I
this.
mean, kind of a big deal.
So again,
Let the record show.
the idea is that from either street, nothing's really looking any different. You know, it's just black wrought iron there that wasn't there before, and then from the other side, it would look no different than what's been there for however long it's already been there for.
All right, well, we can.
Would you let me to make a motion? to
I
request
think
it?
unless, yeah, maybe we'll take a
I'll
motion
make,
now. and
I'll
then
make
we can-
one motion, so we'll keep it clean. I'll move to approve the requested variance for the quote-unquote 7-foot privacy fence that, in fact, in the neighbor's sight line is only 6 feet.
Second.
Okay,
Mr. Chair,
that's two
can I just
variances.
suggest?
What?
do you want us to break them up into
That was
two?
just one.
Well, either that, or
I
he's
didn't do
got to
the
either
second one.
encompass the other motion into this to allow the privacy fence to be there in the first place, and the height, so you can make that into one motion. But it should be, you should cite your reasons for that, instead of just making the motions.
Okay.
You have to attach something to it.
You did say the word privacy, but either we'll have two different motions or just
Well, you
one
can
motion
have-
with two separate
Yeah,
parts.
you can have a 4-foot privacy fence, that's the point.
Okay,
Okay, I mean, so
go.
I'll
go.
take it, I'll
Take
make,
it- take
I'll
another-
try it. If you, Hank, correct me if this is wrong. I'll make a motion to have the privacy fence, the 7-foot variance, because of extenuating circumstances, including the frontage of the house, including the de facto frontage of the house, and including the topographical, if that's the word, elevation vis-a-vis the neighbor's yard. Does that work?
But as long as you say it's the privacy fence, as long as everybody understands that that's gonna be a 7-foot privacy fence from his side.
I tried to make that clear,
So,
yeah.
and therefore, the privacy fence be allowed in the side yard, that the
Yes.
motion should reflect.
Would it be,
that.
would it be simpler for the record if we used your proposed
could.
verbiage
Yeah,
here?
and the 7-foot part is just the yellow part, that's
Right.
already
Right.
existing.
Right,
The
the only
green
one,
is.
it's only
yeah.
55 feet. It's only that
Right,
yellow part.
right.
The rest of it's
6.
6.
So if you want to read it.
You
I-
could
What?
incorporate the two.
Well,
sample
I don't know if I'm
motions.
supposed to do the motion as the chair, but somebody can.
Well, all right, let me tell you what I have,
Here we
what
go.
I've gleaned from
Yes,
this,
yeah,
and you tell
go.
me if that was your intent of
Okay.
the motion. To allow a fence exceeding 4 foot, 7 foot natural height in the side yard, 55 feet in length, as it meets as the fence meets all the criteria necessary for a dimensional variance, which would be the irregular topography of the neighbor's lot and their lot, and the irregular configuration of the house as it exists on the lot, and to allow the side yard fence to be privacy in a side yard as it satisfies all the retired criteria, again, specifically the nature of the house on the lot, how it's configured.
That's right.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
There you
So,
So that's my motion.
That's
we'll-
one.
we'll.
I'll second that.
Second.
Okay, having seconded, we can open it up for any further discussion before we take a vote.
Take a motion.
All right, hearing none, all in favor of the combined motions as presented?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? One. All right, motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you, everybody.
Returning briefly to our agenda.
Mr. Chair,
on.
just for the
what about the green
record,
stuff?
just for the record, I just want to be clear on this. So we're not going to address the patio as the applicant feels there's alternatives that might be undertaken without necessitating a variance. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right,
Okay,
we're
so
accepting
the-
the withdrawal of the variance request for a
I
patio.
have a question about that. Hi. Could he come back, like with like plans or something, if he wants that at some point?
He can come
Like,
back, but there would have to be a
drawing it?
material change in what he's proposing. So whether it's size, whether it's materials, whether it's something, whether he's asking for something more specific,
Yeah, we
he
just want a
could,
lot of
That's-
specificity.
he
He doesn't
could
need a
come
variance,
back.
I agree.
Right now, we have a
Doesn't need to be
135
yellow.
square foot patio, and that's
Two for
defined
that
as an
and one for
accessory
that.
structure. So the accessory structure to me means that it's made out of a material rather than landscape features. So if he wanted to throw some bark down there where the kids could do it, play, on the bark without a problem, that's fine. We would look at that as a landscape feature. He wouldn't need to come back here for that.
Yeah, and just to clarify, going back to the drawing, the motions that we have just approved refer to the section of the fence that's indicated in yellow. There is no longer a variance request for the section that is in blue, and the sections that are in green and red do not
Do not
require a
require a
variance.
variance.
So, okay, having confirmed that, do we have agenda item number 5, any other business from the
At
city
this
or
point,
from
at
the
this
board?
point in time, Mr. Chairman, we have no other business. I do anticipate that there will be a October meeting at this point, provided that the materials that are supposed to come in do come in.
All right. We'll open it up for general public participation. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Guys.